So, 2010 Ford Focus, and it was starting out as just a, hey Dad, can you check the oil level for me? So, got to change the oil, I was going to change the spark plugs, got into the spark plugs. So when I took off the front spark plug from the cover, noticed it was completely filled with oil. So turned out that there was probably a faulty valve cover gasket. Just came back from auto parts store, got these.
Of course, it took 2 trips because...
Yeah, because the first one, they gave me the wrong freaking part. So it's always fun when you have to go back to the store.
Well, it's pretty easy to confuse a Ford with a BMW.
Yeah. But when I was looking at these, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with them. Maybe this is a little bent. Because it was sitting in there like this. And this was the one that was bad. I guess maybe something else was. Let's see, because they're all sitting in here, right? They're all seated in here, and you know, obviously this was totally full. This had a little bit in it. They looked dry, but when I pulled out the plugs, the bottoms were just covered in oil. So obviously they leak, even if they look like they don't look bad. So I got the part here. So what I'm going to do is pull these all out. And, you know, oh, and so another thing that I ran into was taking the head cover off. I pulled out all the plugs, you know, pretty easy. Just disconnect the harness, kind of move it out of the way. You'll see all these plugs, or the screws are 8mm. Some of them, if you could see this right here, they don't come all the way out. A couple did, but they're just kind of positioned so they just loosen out. And a couple of them came out, so you'll come across that. But when I had everything out, it was stuck. And so obviously you don't want to pry it underneath, because that's all aluminum. You don't want to scratch this or you'll start leaking. It was stuck on there. I took a rubber mallet, I was banging around. I was able to take this under this because it kind of pops out a little bit, and just start prying it and then it'll pop off. So be patient when you're doing that. Make sure that's all clean. I don't know, you probably don't even have to do this, but you have to know, I don't know.
And they told you not to, that you don't need to put anything else on it.
No. Yeah, that's it.
You don't even have to put any, like, sometimes you take a fingertip and do oil or something.
Well, see, here's what's going to happen. I'll probably flip it and these will fall out. So what do you do about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Boy, it looks pretty good with the blue.
Okay. Too bad they don't show.
Yeah. Got to manipulate this around. And
I know it still could happen if you're wiggling it around.
yeah. All those. So far, so good. Ooh, that feels good.
Snapped right in place.
That's seated pretty good. It's basically just these screws around. When I took the ones that do come off versus the ones that don't, I put them on a paper towel, so I knew kind of which ones were going back to what. Again, I don't know if it makes any difference, but like there's that corner one right here. So it's a 8mm 8mm, and that was basically it. And some fits in the short, but others were long, so I had to use kind of that ratchet. And I'm sure the way that I'll tighten these is probably a cross pattern.
Kind of like you do your lug nuts.
Yeah. So I'll hit that one. See, these, it doesn't fit, so you kind of got to do it by hand with those, which is a pain. I mean, this is a pretty basic fix.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious. I'm going to call the local mechanic, see what he'd charge.
Yeah, you should.
I mean, the gasket was $22. Now, plastic. Don't know what the torque is on it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have a torque wrench. Obviously, you don't want to go too tight and crack the plastic. Doing it all back in reverse. So, you saw me put the things on, and then it's just all these bolts. Just make sure everything was kind of tightened down, and then it's just getting the harness back on. So here's the fuel injector, connectors. Kind of connecting the fuel injectors on. Okay, so these are for all the ignition coils right there. This one. There was this. I had to bend out of place a little bit, and then get this back on here. So there, tighten that back up there. These things sat on here. So I think there was, yep, there's this. This is plugging back in there. Kind of, let's see, plug, that. This came around on there, snaps on there, that's connected there. I didn't take that off. Don't see any other than the ignition coils. Let's see, this was, that was sitting on there. This was sitting on here. Boom, boom, bam. Okay, so I figure while I'm doing this, obviously the plugs were covered in oil. Thought it'd be a good time to change out the plugs anyways on these. All right, this is more for the end of the boot. So the end of the boot, I'll just put some of that boot protector in here. You can see that there's probably already some remnants of it. Probably put some up here. Start it with your hand so you can hand tighten it so you know it's not going in all, you're not, cross threading it. Just do it by hand easily. So when I pull these out, these were just dripping with oil, right? And they were shot anyways. I mean, you could see the difference. I don't know when these were changed last, but the car should be running a lot better. Perfect. Sounds much better, cleaner. It burned off a little bit of oil. But for the most part, I'm happy with it. All in on this fix was probably $20 for the gasket, 30 bucks for the plugs. I filled up, $30 for the oil. 75 bucks, call it. For you name it. Auto mechanic, 500.